yang bertajuk the issue of demotivated online learners. Sorry, issue of demotivated online learners. Dan sesi bagi ni akan mengambil masa lebih kurang 2 jam Cik Asyraf.
Tak ada.
Okey, segala hormatnya dipersilakan Cik Mohd Asyraf dengan perkongsian beliau pagi ini.
Okay, terima kasih. Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. So I'll just our topic today is on the issue of motivation for online learners. Okay, so as we are forced to adapt to this new learning environment, right? This is such a challenging time. So we need to think about motivation of the student, especially in online learning, because of the distance that are present between us and our students. So it could be hard to foster our students' motivation. So what I'll do today is I'll talk about motivation, but only in the theoretical sense, right? So I'll present some theory relating to motivation and more specifically on online learning. Okay, so these are some of the examples of what I've seen, like relating to online class, because of this global crisis, right? Universities everywhere have to conduct online learning. So as you can see, students are expressing some of their thoughts about online learning, right? It has become like some sort of memes. So they are making jokes, perhaps as a coping mechanism in this difficult time. Okay. Right, so these are some of the possible factors for demotivation. Right, so these are the things that we need to take into consideration as we construct our syllabus and as we execute our lesson. Right, so the first one, feelings of isolation. Yeah, it could get quite impersonal, right? Because students will be looking at their laptops instead of having interactions with their peers and their teachers. So yeah, and then next is frustrations with technology, right? Some students are not very proficient, right? So we need to take that into consideration as well. Right, and then the other one is time constraints due to other responsibilities. So when our students are at home, so they may have to do other chores. So this could impede their learning. So what we can do is we have to be considerate, right? Yeah, it is like different and could be difficult for the students. So let's look at the theory first. So the theory that I'll cover now is on theory of transactional distance. So transactional distance basically refers to the space that we have between ourselves, the instructors, and our students. So for transactional distance, there are 3 components actually. So the first one is the structure. The structure is basically how we construct our syllabus. So our syllabus, the more structured it is, like, so the transactional distance would be increasing. And for dialogue refers to interaction. So our interaction with the students. So the less dialogue we have with our students, the transactional distance would increase. So our goal is to minimize that transactional distance so that the learning would be more effective. Okay, so so these are the components, and these are some of the mediums that can be utilized, right? And also the other key component is autonomy. So the higher the transactional distance, you have to uh, you have to make sure that your students are autonomous. Autonomous here refers to the independence of the students, right? So uh, they have to be independent. They have to have that intrinsic motivations to learn. So yeah, as you can see here, yeah. So our goal today is to look at a way to minimize that transactional distance. So to minimize that transactional distance, we have to um, look at the structure, which is our syllabus, as well as our interactions. Right. So this is from this is a continuation of the transactional distance theory. So I'll look at the 4 dimensions of interactions. Right. So the first one is the learner instructor. So learner instructors interactions is the primary ones. Of course, our relationship with the students and our interaction with the students, we have to ensure that we execute our lessons thoroughly. So there are several things, key factors that we have to look into. The first one, instructors immediacy, timely, useful feedback, clarity of instructions, facilitating discussions and presentation, determining learning needs and preferences. So these are some of the uh, components that we have to account for to make sure that um, the to make sure that motivation of our students are retained. And teaching presence, yeah, of course, this is very important as well. We not only have to um, give instructions, merely give instructions, but we have to make sure that we create that environment where collaboration could happen. And then the next interaction is between the learner and our content. So this is relating to our resources, right? So the resources we have, it must be, they must be able to access it. Um, so yeah, nowadays because of technology, like students can basically there are abundance of resource, right? So it is important for the instructors to make sure that the students access the correct resources, the most accurate or the most relevant resources that is relating to their syllabus or curriculum. And then learner interaction. So this is quite important as well. I think that for us, if we want to create that interactions between us and the students, that is something that easy for us to do, right? So it's just us. But to make sure that our students interact with one another, that could be quite challenging, right? So why is it important that the students interact with one another? Because yeah, this is to for their motivation lah, right? So um, when there are a lot of theories on this, like for example, they need to look at their friends and see their friends do well, and then they will emulate their friends, right? And then they also look at they also have that sense of competition, right? So they want to be able to compete with one another so that their motivations would be retained. So this is our role. We have to be able to create an online community where interactions are not only between us and the students, but between the students and the students as well. So this we can create by ensuring our activities, we incorporate group activities in our syllabus. And then the last one is learner and interface. So this is basically the learner's ability to utilize the required technological tools. So we have to take into account our students' capability as well. Yeah, when it comes to technology. So perhaps um, I find that the simpler it is, the better, because it will be easier to access. Okay, another model that we can look into is ARC's model of motivation. Okay, so ARCS, A stands for attention, right? So gain and keep learners' attention. So how do we do this? We have to vary our teaching tool. We have to use different technology or different web tools, right? Also, we have to consider that the novelty factors. If we use something that we haven't used before, something that seems very advanced, the student will be interested. But we, but if you conduct the same thing once or twice, it will be okay. But if you keep on doing the same thing for 6 weeks, then it could be quite boring. The novelty factors would wane off. So you need to be able to vary that web tools. And the next one is relevance. So connect accomplishment of learners' desired future goals. So we have to make sure that the students are always reminded of what the learning outcomes are. So the learning outcomes, students have to know so that they know what they have to accomplish. And so for that learning outcomes, we also have to perhaps make like a stage so that students could uh, achieve one milestone and then they would proceed to the next milestone. So it's like in stages. So that because when students know why they study, then they will be able to um, be more motivated lah to learn. And the next one is confidence. Confidence is relating to empowerment, students' empowerment. So we have to instill the belief in learners that they can handle the taught subject. So this is relating to their self-efficacy, right? So when they have that can-do mindset, they will approach the syllabus in a more effective way. And the next one is satisfaction. So we need to make sure that students would get that sense of accomplishment when they achieve something. So that's why we have to make sure that our assessment is something that um, achievable to them, so that they will be able to get that sense of accomplishment, and with that they will be able to be more motivated, basically. So one technique that is shared here is distributed scaffolding. So basically, we set up smaller goals for the students, and once they achieve that goals, so for different type of goals there, we have to incorporate different type of technological tools or web tools um, so that it will be more effective, basically. Okay, so the 6 C's of motivation. So this is another theory. So the first one is choice. The first C is choice. So we need to give some freedom for the students to how they want to shape their learning to be. So when we give them that choice, right, so they will be able to be more, they will be more interested to learn. And the next one is control. So control also relates to students' sense of empowerment. So they should be able to feel like they can achieve something. So they are on top of the syllabus. So when they get that sense, so they will be more motivated. Constructive meaning. So constructive meaning refers to how they make sense of the lessons and how they relate the lessons to uh, the real world, right? Uh, how they make sense of the lessons, lah, basically, right? And then challenge. So we have to make sure that it is up to par with the students' level. Um, yeah, it is also quite hard because we have different type of students. So we have to um, gauge our students' level, basically. Some students, that's why this is something that quite often overlooked because we are not in front. So we have to always um, check our students' work, and then it always have to be something that is personal to them. I mean, we have to give personal feedback to our students. And then collaboration, yeah, we have to create that environment, online community that foster a sense of belonging. So yeah, it could be quite challenging for us as well because with us we can control ourselves, but our students with one another, the one we have to really work hard to make sure that they support each other and then they interact. So that is why I think that group works or group assessment are very important to for the sake of the students' motivation. And the last one is consequences. So the consequences, so consequences here refer to, sorry, I lost my note. Yeah, so when they are given, so we need to give them opportunities to show the consequences of their work. So when they are able to present their work, they will be more motivated. So sharing here not just with us, but with their classmates as well. All right, and with that, I think we've reached the end of my presentation. Um, so one as a conclusion, like I think uh, what we can do in our class is we have to uh, remember that we are dealing with actual human beings, right? Because of this distance, right? Technology, we don't really see our students live, face to face, where we only see them on screen. So it's quite easy to think of them as uh, not individuals, basically. So we have to be able to be personal a bit. So our course should and our the things we do in class should incorporate some sort of personal activities. We have to get to know our students, and when they send in their works, for example, perhaps we can ask them to include their pictures as well, so that we can see their face. And yeah, and also it would be good if we can ask them to make some sort of like journals, so that uh, they can I mean, this is related to language learning basically. So we ask them to write something that is more personal to them, so that uh, the lesson will be more personal, right? So we need to not forget that it is very important for us to make like make sure that it is a holistic approach, right? We cover not just the learning, but also their attitudes, their behavior as well. And with that, thank you. That is all from me. So perhaps we can do sharing session. Anyone would like to share? You may do so. Or if you have any question, feel free to ask.
Any question?
Eh, perhaps if you
Hello.
to
Asyraf.
yes, saya.
Cik Syah, nak tanya sikit. Ada tak tool yang you can share that between the student to student?
So we can share between student and student.
Not selalunya kita antara lecturer dengan student kan. Let's say now we give for the student group assignment among the students, just to increase the motivation among them.
I see.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. What I did in class is I asked them to comment on each other's work, right? So because there are like essay based, so they write something personal regarding their experience. So I always ask them to look at others' work as well. So that's what I always do lah. But that one you can use with Google Docs, with Padlet, because there are features that we can comment, right? Yeah. So
Atas meja dulu. Okay? Dia pasal tangan dengan sabun ni tau
yes, I hope that answers the question. Anyone else would like to ask a question? Or you can also share. Yeah, please submit your attendance. Welcome. Thank you for joining.
Okay, Asyraf, thank you for the